I am happy to be with you today, to share some love and laughter along the way. I won't burden you with any more singing. Don't turn it off. Please don't turn it off. I promise I won't sing anymore. Anyway, I used to be really good in my day, let me tell you that. And by the way, I'm not warmed up. But anyway, I'm always trying to think of some unique way to start the podcast. Maybe I should just say, welcome to Mr. B's dinner party. I could be like my producer and come up with this wonderful song, but I don't write song lyrics. So, unless somebody wants to write me an introductory song that would incorporate Mr. B's dinner party, let me know. Okay, let's belly up to the table and start the program. For my spiritual journey, as I am still abstinent today, I have been abstinent all day, and I only take it one day at a time. And I usually start my day by saying to my higher power, please do everything in your power to keep me clean today so I can serve you to my utmost. Because I do not want the food to cloud my work or my thinking. So, as I have gone through the 12 steps and constantly come back to them, one of the major components that is worked on for a self-inventory is forgiveness. Forgiveness of others and forgiveness for yourself. I challenge you to, if you want to be on the spiritual journey, if you feel you have an addiction, that you accept your mistakes, you learn from them, and treat yourself with compassion. Normally, an addict has absolutely no love or respect for self. And that is all backwards. You should start with yourself. Now, I know, easier said than done. I get it. I have spent the majority of my life not being happy with myself, condemning myself, putting myself down, belittling myself before somebody else can. But I don't think that's necessary today. And I'm just going to go into some more detail about forgiveness and how it applies to my spiritual journey and my addiction. First of all, how do you forgive yourself or others? As I said, number one, acknowledge and accept that you have resentment against somebody or something, or maybe yourself. We all have felt guilt, shame about having a resentment against somebody or something or us. It's okay to feel that for a while, for a very, 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 very short while. Because if you hang on to it, then it could spiral into a binge of gambling or sexual addiction or exercise or drinking or eating, whatever it is. I would then suggest number two is that you take responsibility. Acknowledge the consequences of your actions. If you have harmed somebody else, you have to own it. You have to own it and do something about it. Number three, Try to understand your motivation or the reasons behind your actions. Why did you say that to the other person? Why did you condemn them? Why did you steal something from them? Why did you talk about them behind their backs? What's really the reason for that? Really try to understand that, to understand your motivation. Also, with yourself, with forgiving yourself, you need to practice self-compassion. Put it on a t-shirt. Wake up every morning and say to yourself, today I'm going to forgive myself. Today I'm going to love myself. Today I'm going to accept myself. You need to talk to yourself with understanding and compassion. Of all the people in the world that you should do that for would be yourself. Start with you. As a teacher for 39 plus years, I always felt like most of the time, that's all I can say most of the time, is that I had understanding and compassion for everybody. But I surely didn't for me. I never would cut myself a break. I was never satisfied with myself. And so consequently, to punish myself, I would overeat. And that was supposed to take the pain away, take the suffering away. And that didn't work. You also need to challenge your inner critic and try to stop the negative self-talk. Oh, turn that faucet off. Don't turn to that negative self-talk channel in your head, because it spirals out of control. My brain, as has been described by many people with the food addiction that I own, is like a gerbil on a wheel inside a cage. It keeps going round and around and around and around, but you really don't get anywhere. You just keep going around and around and around. And I really have tried to stop that wheel at times. Does it still spin out of control? Absolutely. When I'm trying to control everything, absolutely. Then I have to realize that I can't control everything and I have to give it up to something else. Then remember, you are human. You are not perfect. You never will be. None of us ever will be. So accept that. And if you made a mistake, own it. Identify what you can learn from your experience. I somewhat am probably jumping all around here, but from the experience to improve your future decisions. Make amends. So important. Apologize to those you hurt and take steps to rectify. Forgive. Forgive. If somebody has talked about you, or if somebody has said mean things to you, or if somebody has physically hurt you in some way, financially hurt you in some way, emotionally, psychologically, whatever it is, try to, as I just said, take steps to rectify that. Because if you forgive others, you're going to be forgiving yourself. And why carry around resentment against another person? The only person who's really getting hurt in that scenario is you. You. Oh, I'll show that person. I'll never forgive them for what they said to me or wrote about me. Really? Really? You think that's going to keep you emotionally well? Think again. Then also make a commitment to change. Try to consciously every day make a decision to make better choices for the future. If you know that you shouldn't be around certain people because they have something within them that triggers something within you, then try to avoid them if you can. If you can. If somebody says something to you or looks at you in some way and you become resentful because they simply don't appreciate you for who you are, or that's what you think anyway, maybe start saying to yourself, I think I need to reevaluate that. I need to rethink that. Which leads to the next point. Move forward. Find positive aspects celebrating accomplishments. Or never underestimate the power of professional help, a therapist, a counselor. It takes a strong person to determine if he or she needs that kind of help. Have somebody else you can talk to who's completely 100% impartial. My sponsor is 100% completely impartial. He calls it like it is. If I am not forgiving somebody for something, I many times will go to him and say, can you help me analyze why I'm holding on to this resentment? What am I getting out of this? What is it doing for me? And since I consider my sponsor to be God with skin on, objective, he usually can answer that question. And then it's clear to me. And then I forgive. Please remember that forgiveness is an ongoing process. You've got to be patient with yourself. Some days you may not feel like forgiving. You want to play those old tapes of resentment and anger, and you feel more comfortable with those. I get it. Does it work? No. But I get it. Then get to the point where you're strong enough emotionally and physically that you can be patient with yourself. Always try to practice self-compassion for yourself, because if you don't do it, who will? So important. Here's a piece of advice. Acknowledge your mistake or why you should forgive out loud to somebody. That's why I say it out loud to my sponsor. Can you say it to a clergy person? Can you say it to an objective party? Say it out loud. I need to show forgiveness to because this is what happened. Really important. How about writing in a journal? Daily, weekly, monthly, whatever. Where you have a conversation between you and your inner critic. We all have an inner critic. Somebody who says, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not handsome enough. Blah, 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 blah. Tell that inner critic that you're not going to pay attention to that. Just be yourself. Accept yourself, and you will gladly start seeing how you accept other people. Because we are all equal. Be aware of when you have a harsh voice within you, and then maybe journal about it or talk to somebody about it instead of lashing out and hurting somebody. Try to not let the inner critic talk or express itself. And take your own advice. Ask yourself what you would tell your best friend if they were sharing this mistake they made with you, and then take your own advice. I love that. Ask yourself what you would tell your best friend if they were sharing this mistake they made with you. Then take that advice. Isn't that amazing? Really, very simple. If you trust your best friend or an objective party and they tell you something, they are telling you something and you give advice to them, they trust you. You give advice, but you don't practice that advice. That's hypocrisy. There's no place for hypocrisy in the 12-step program. Honesty is a part of the 12-step program. And finally, my happy friends, quit playing the tape. Instead of thinking about this resentment and why you should forgive somebody and forgive yourself and reach out and do something, take 3 breaths. Go for a walk. Focus on a positive action step. Watch a movie. For me, it would be anything that doesn't involve food. Food was always my first resort. That'll make me feel better. Not. Don't think so. But maybe do something to take yourself away from that, and the answer or the procedure you need to follow will become clear to you. Yes, it can work. So, folks, forgiveness of yourself and forgiveness of others. Crucially important. It can help you grow intellectually, emotionally as a person, give you peace of mind, and make every day a little bit better. Do yourself a favor and cherish forgiveness. The year 1973. The place, Hampton, Iowa. The event, I saw my first showing at the theater, the movie theater in Hampton, Iowa, of one of the greatest love stories of all time, The Way We Were. 1973, American romantic drama film, directed by Sidney Pollack, with 2 of the greatest stars of all time, Barbra Streisand, who's now in her 80s and still going strong, and Robert Redford. It is based on the author's college days at Cornell University. It was a huge box office success and was nominated for several awards and won the Academy Awards for Best Original Dramatic Score and Best Original Song. Now, you probably can guess what the song is. It would not be good for me to sing it for you. Memories like the corners of my mind. That's as much as you get. Go to Spotify and have Barbara sing it for you. It is almost every time I hear that song, I want to cry. Because every time I have seen this movie, I have wept. Yes, real men can cry. That's no sign of being a girl. That last scene puts me away every single time, which we'll be talking about. It's ranked at number 6 on the AFI's, American Film Institute's 100 Years of the greatest love stories of America's cinema. Number 6. The soundtrack, of course, was very popular. The Way We Were was listed by Billboard as the number 1 pop hit of 1974. It is truly amazing. Not only is this a romantic film between two very, very, very different actors, but it has such a compelling historic story, a deep story, and how two people can love each other passionately, but can't be together. Even though they tried, they can't do it. Streisand plays Katie, and Redford plays Hubble, who, as I give you a little bit of the plot summary, 2 college students with different lives in 1937. Katie is a Marxist Jew who's very anti-war, where Hubble is very carefree with no feelings about politics at all. Katie meets him on campus, falls in love with his good looks. He's charmed by her commitment to social causes. But his friends just mock Katie, so nothing happens. But then the two meet again in New York City near the end of World War II. Hubble is back from active duty as a naval officer, and Katie's been doing other things. And what happens? You guessed it. They fall in love. But anyway, their relationship is in trouble because Katie is incensed when Hubble's friends make remarks about Franklin Roosevelt, and she makes fun of Hubble's indifferences. And then he's frustrated by her bluntness, and so he ends the relationship. But they do reconcile. While he was in college, Hubble, Robert Redford, had written a novel for a class, and he's given an opportunity to turn it into a screenplay. So he wants to move to Hollywood, but Katie is not too keen on that. But they do. And as this is going on, McCarthyism is encroaching on their lives. Now, McCarthyism is when people were accused of being Russian spies in the entertainment field primarily. Katie and her cohorts confront the government over the free speech. Her involvement definitely strains the marriage. Hubble becomes very alienated. Katie now has become pregnant, but Hubble has an affair with a former college girlfriend. Katie realizes Hubble is not the man she liked or idolized, and that he will always choose the easiest path. Hubble, emotionally exhausted, can't live up to Katie's expectations. After the daughter is born, they divorce. And the scene that puts me away every time. Years later, by chance, they meet in front of the Plaza Hotel in New York City. Katie, of course, is demonstrating Ban the Bomb. And Hubble is working for a television station. They get together and they talk very briefly. Hubble has not seen his child. Hubble has a new wife. Katie has a new husband. They say the traditional hello, goodbye. Katie goes back to her spot on the street, banning the bomb. And Hubble comes over, and they embrace. And over Robert Redford's shoulder, you can see Streisand's face, primarily her eyes, as they well up with tears. And they part and probably never see each other again. A very tender, bittersweet farewell. And an ending that I think truly would move anybody. Now, just a little background about the movie. Robert Redford did not want to do the movie at all. He didn't feel like he was suited to the character of Hubble at all. But Streisand convinced him, and it surely was a wonderful, wonderful pairing of two very, very different actors. And the passion that they bring to their roles is truly amazing. And you also, as I said, find out the history of McCarthyism in film, in Hollywood at that time. And you find out how it ruined careers, all based on lies. But most importantly, the way we were, as I said earlier, conveys to me that love is not necessarily defined by marriage. Love does not have to be assigned to a certain religion or political stance. Love transpires itself beyond all that. It's almost holy. That's something that's shared between two people. Hubble and Katie will always love each other, even though they may never see each other again. And the reality of their very different lives was a major, major reason why they couldn't stay together. But their love would never be tarnished. Okay, I got a little sappy there, folks. But I really encourage you, if you like romance, if you like cuddling up with somebody, get a big bowl of popcorn and get some suds. Sit down and make sure that you have your Kleenex available. Because you're probably going to need it. One of the most moving romantic films ever made. Beautifully directed. Beautifully acted. The Way We Were. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, an icon of a comedic actor, was on the classic Seinfeld series, was also on the long-running HBO series Veep, where she played a female vice president. But I'm going to focus on the TV series that ran from 2006 to 2010. The New Adventures of Old Christine. Yes, quite a unique title. The New Adventures of Old Christine. Now, once again, where do you find this? It is on TV Land, many times at about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning for a couple hours. Has been for a number of years. I only know this because I'm a very early riser. And you can watch it there. You could probably buy the box set. I'm sure you could find it on some streaming service. And it is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. She plays Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Christine Campbell, a single mom who's trying to balance her work and personal life while maintaining a close relationship with her ex-husband, Richard. The show also features Hamish Linklater as Christine's brother. Wanda Sykes, the great comedian, as her best friend Barb. And Trevor Gagan as her son Richie. Now, why the old Christine and the new Christine? Richard and Christine are divorced. And even though they're very, very close and live close to each other, trying to raise their son, Richard is dating a new woman. Guess what her name is? That's right, Christine. And so the show focuses on his relationship with her. Does he still have feelings for his ex-wife, the old Christine? Should they get back together? Should they not? Should the new Christine marry Richard? I'm not going to tell you what happens in that episode. So anyway, the whole series revolves around her humorous and, may I say, very chaotic attempts to keep pace with the world around her. Trying to date men. Big focus of the show. She meets lots of losers. Or she sabotages the relationships. Why is it? Is that because she's still in love with her husband? Is it because she's too dingy? What is it? What is it that's stopping her from making these relationships work? It ran for 4 years, as I said, received very positive reviews from the critics. Louise Dreyfus won a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy in 2006. So once again, Christine is neurotic, self-absorbed. She owns a women's gym and tries to give the impression to everybody around her that she has control over her life. Nothing could be farther from the truth. She gets along with her ex-husband very well and names his girlfriend New Christine. And those two get along sometimes, and sometimes they don't. Christine lives with her son, Richie, and her brother, Matthew. And Barb, played by Wanda Sykes, offers her lots of support as they both co-own a women's gym. Almost everything in her life ends up disastrous. In particular, there's these mean moms. That's what they're called, mean moms. 2 women who are at the son's private school that Christine has sent Richie to. And the mean moms are always condemning Christine, putting her down, that she's not good enough, that why is she at this private school, so on and so forth. Why is her child at this private school? So, really, the whole series explores motherhood, friendship, self-discovery, and how do you build a life after you have been divorced. I really support the idea that you see this, the new adventures of old Christine. Whether she is in an episode trying to be domestic, which she's terrible at, or cooking, which she's terrible at, or relating to men, which she's terrible at, or trying to fit in at the private school with Richie, or trying to manage and operate a gym when she has no skills in that area, or trying to get along with her live-in brother or her mother. It never, ever ceases to be hilarious. Miss Julia Louis-Dreyfus, sorry, Julia, is perfect for this role. Perfect. And if you want something that's lighthearted, you don't have to invest a lot of thematic views into it. It's not highly deep. It's not highly philosophical, but it is funny. It is funny. So take the time to rediscover the American sitcom, The New Adventures of Old Christine, starring the famous Julia Louis-Dreyfus. You will laugh and laugh and laugh. Pet peeves. Oh, yes. You've heard Mr. B go on and on about pet peeves, whether it deals with airports or driving or department stores or food behaviors. Oh, my goodness, the list goes on and on and on. But wait, have I talked about parenting pet peeves? Now, I have 2 grown children, one 35, one 32, highly functioning, as far as I know, doing well, as far as I know. And I was far from being a perfect parent. Far. I did some things right. I did. I'm not going to beat myself up for it. But I have made amends to both my children. as part of my 12-step program about things that I felt harmed them, psychologically, emotionally, whatever it was. But I would like to believe that the ones I'm going to mention now, pet peeves about parents and what they do, comes from my 39 years of being a public school teacher and from being a parent. Here's my top 12 parenting pet peeves. Number 1, parents that give in to their children when they're whining just to get them to shut up. We don't want to hear the child go on and on, right? It's like being on an airplane and the child cries for the entire flight. Try to put yourself in the child's position, okay? Anyway, I remember one day I took my older son, I think he was 3 at the time, 3 or 4, to a grocery store. My cart was loaded with groceries. We get up to the checkout, and of course that's where they always put all the candy. He wanted candy. I said no. He started what we call a tantrum. And you know what? I took him out, I left the cart, and I didn't go back in. He wasn't going to get his way. Oh, no. And I subjected myself to that crying. But I took him out of the store. He did not get the candy bar. Now, did I do that all the time? Oh, gosh, no. Sometimes I did concede. But don't parents realize that they're encouraging their child's negative behavior? We don't want to reward negative behavior. It's the same thing for being in the classroom. If you want to put on a show or act a certain way, that's your right to do so, but I'm not changing my mind as an educator, and I'll tell you why. Here's another one. Number 2, parents who use threats to discipline their children. I hear this all the time in grocery stores. I know I did it too. I know I did. I know I did. I admit it. But I try not to threaten, and surely this also applies to the classroom. If you're going to say something that you're going to do, you had better be ready to follow through with it. This especially happens many times at fast food restaurants. I remember one time I watched as his father got face-to-face with his daughter, acting like he was going to hit her. And I was just imagining what it was going to be like when that child got home. I felt really sad for the child. And again, I don't know what the child has done. But I hear this in the aisles of grocery stores and department stores of parents threatening to discipline the child. And again, with the avalanche of abuse, physical, verbal abuse that we have in our culture, it's just not the best way of parenting. And I know that for myself. I'm not judging other people. I truly am not. I'm not. I'm simply saying I know for myself that didn't work. Number 3, not going to say much about this. Parents who smoke around their children. When I was growing up, smoking was much more accepted. And my father smoked in front of us. He smoked in the house. And today, if my father were young and somebody would ask him to stand outside and smoke, he would probably use some vulgar language to tell that person what to do. That would not be something he would do. Number 4, allowing your child to run around like a wild animal in public. Yeah. You might want to get away from them, and you might want them to just go somewhere and get away from you. But that's really inexcusable. Thank you. Inexcusable. Teach them the difference. It's not a playground. It's a department store. Number 5, and I know I was guilty of this too, allowing obese children to eat addictive foods and soda. My gosh, we are plagued by mounds and stacked donuts and brownies at convenience stores before you check out, and pies and cakes, and not fruits and vegetables. Oh no. And we have so many forms of soda pop we can drink today. And I know that I went through a phase where I drank a lot of Mountain Dew, and now I can't even stand the taste of it. And I'm so grateful for that. But don't feed the addiction if you can. I know that the person has to make that decision for himself or herself. I do see that. But as a parent, can you try to bring more healthy food into the house? Making excuses, number 6, for a child's misbehavior. Really don't care for this. Oh, she's just cranky. Oh, he's just tired. Oh, he didn't know what he was doing. Then you're allowing your child just to be a brat. It'll just continue. Don't do that, please. Make the child own their behavior. Number 7, parents that don't buckle their kids while driving in the car. Hopefully this doesn't happen often because, first of all, it's against the law. I do believe that any parent that jeopardizes their child's safety is definitely a negligent parent. It doesn't take long to buckle your child in. Number 8, parents that use inappropriate language in front of the kids. Why do you think we have kindergartners swearing? We have it on primetime television now. We have it in movies. We have it on other forms of media. But if you as a parent use vulgar language in front of your kids, guess what? They're going to use it. And guess what? They won't be as appropriate as to where they use it. Don't do it. Be careful of what you say. The next one, parents that overschedule their children. They have to go to ballet for an hour. Then they have to go to vocal lessons. Then they have to go to karate. And then they have a whole list of chores to do. You give them no downtime. They have to have it. We all need to have downtime. It differs from person to person. Give them a break. Another one would be disconnected parents. They really don't want to be around their children. They'd rather be working or spending time doing something else than really being with their child and playing with their child and listening to their child and understanding their child. And I know, as a divorced father who had my boys every weekend when they were small, after a really long, hard week of school, the first thing I wanted to do was sit down and listen to them. I admit it. But did I? Yes, I did, because they were my children, and I owed that to them. They had the right to be listened to. The next one, parents who allow their children to watch R-rated movies, especially horror movies. Here we go. We got so much YouTube out there and video games and accessibility to horror films or items that have overabundance of violence and nudity and drugs and swearing. It's hard to stop that from happening. You can't monitor what your child is doing 24/7. But you could be as selective as possible. Wait until they're maybe older to understand what's being done in the film or what's being said. And so, please monitor what they watch. And the last one, parents who make excuses for their children. I somewhat alluded to that, but that's really my biggest pet peeve. Don't do that. Let the child own what he or she has done. Oh, he made me do it. It's somebody else's fault. I found so often in teaching, students had every imaginable reason to blame somebody else or something and not take accountability. You have to do that. That's the road to a healthy self-concept. being accountable. So don't make excuses for the children. If they screwed up, they screwed up. I don't know anybody who hasn't. So anyway, maybe a little darker list of pet peeves than I normally shared. But I thought it needed to be said. So there you go. Present parents and future parents. Do your job. Folks, as we know, education has really changed in the last 50 years. For those of you who are my age or older, you know what I'm talking about. I just got a short list here of what some of the big changes are. And I like to think they're for the better. I really do. Number one, I bet you know what it is. What's the biggest change? Technology. Phones. Computers. I never thought that I would be a teacher and that one day all students would have their own personal computer. Never thunk it. And then it happened. And I think it was for the best. Of course, there's downsides to it. We know that. The same can be said for cell phones. There are many positive traits to cell phones, but there are many negatives and ways that it can be used in a non-educational way. But the bandwagon now says you need to jump on the technology bandwagon because we're taking off whether or not you want to be a part of it. So that's what I did as best I could. I struggled. Many days I barely was hanging on. But through dedication and asking other people for help, I did use technology. Also, a big change has been the diverse learning needs. We have much more emphasis now on special needs, which, as I recall, and I know my memory has faded over the years, when I was in elementary school, I know I received special services for a while for a speech impediment that improved because of that help. But we did not necessarily have special ed. We did not have students pulled out. We did not have paras as we do now in the classroom, which I think is a huge plus now to have a special ed to find out what help a student might need so he or she does not get behind in the classroom and let that affect their self-esteem. Really important. Another change would be that I think we have much more teacher shortage and burnout now than we did when I first started teaching. I don't think and I don't have statistics here, but I don't think we have very many people now who consider even going into teaching. I thought it was the most noble occupation, and I still do, of any career, the most noble. And I will always believe that. But with all the demands on teachers today, the accountability, the emphasis on technology, the growth of more what I consider behaviors in a classroom stemming from home life, I really do believe that home lives, as opposed to home life in the 60s or the 50s, is so much different. So much different. That we have young people getting off the school bus, coming into our schools with baggage. And not only are we teaching our subject, but we're also counselors, we're psychologists, social workers, all of the above. And so it lends itself to a person saying, I can't do all this. I can't keep all these balls juggling. And that's why we are losing good teachers. Do I have an answer for that? How to fix it? No, I don't. But I still would always encourage somebody to be a teacher. Now, are there other changes between the 50s up to the present time? Oh, sure. Dress codes are different. Styles of music, different teaching styles of educators. All of these things are different. But the bottom line is we still want to educate our young people. We still want to prepare them for the future, not only academically, but socially. And I still believe the bulk of teachers, that's what they want to do. And I'm not losing sight of that. So no matter where education goes in the future, it's worth it. Well, folks, that's another episode of Mr. B's Dinner Party. How much joy I have in my heart that I could spend time with you today. I hope that you'll reflect on some of the things I've shared with you today. Smear it on your heart. Or just say, that man is nuts. Anyway, no matter how you feel, thanks for bellying up to the table until we get ready for the next dinner party. Farewell, my friends, and enjoy your life.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the world premiere, the Mr. B's Dinner Party theme song.